Right, well, the comics review again. Time for another waffling stream, and this camera's way too close. Push it back a bit. It's kind of precariously balanced. Let's have a look. I'm first initiating the oxygen. There's a cable in the floor. This is a good start, isn't it? Right. Okay, now traditional beer review. This is there's one called Asahi Gold that came out a while ago, and now they're making a Asahi Munich type Fortune Phoenix black beer, and they're selling that alongside Asahi Gold, and in a local supermarket they reckon mixing the two together, so maybe I'll do that one day. Anyway, on to the actual content. So, as the title says, cheap pens, doujinshi and other bits and pieces. So I went to that shop in Takatsugi again, hoping to look for some more Marino Sato, but couldn't find any. I think I've been for about 2/3 of the doujinshi in that shop now, but the rest are kind of really buried behind other books, or the rope together with plastic tying rope. He probably just bought them in bulk and bought them in like that, tied together, and just dumped them down and left them there, and they've kind of been buried ever since. So I don't know if the guy will like me digging them out to just have a look through them on the off chance there's one artist in amongst them. Anyway, before that, I read through machine translation and confusing things that Marino Sato apparently made a return to doujinshi making in the 2000s, or yeah, I think around 2009, or maybe a bit later, maybe 2012 or something, making doujinshi for Yuri on Ice, which is about it's a standard BL which has escaped the attention of BL and got into the mainstream LGBT community, and they're really criticising it from thinking things like this wouldn't happen because they don't really know what they're looking at and what it's for and what it's about. They think it's actually a gay story. But anyway, nice segue. So yeah, I found this doujinshi, and they're using the British meaning of this word, so don't worry. I guess I went to a shop that has lots of cheap, more modern doujinshi, hoping to find some of those other Marino Satos, but it's probably not the same Marino Sato, and possibly the machine translations weren't even wrong, and it's actually, the name is not actually pronounced Marino Sato even, so yeah, I'm going to give up on them and keep searching for the actual stuff, the Red Dragon series, so I can finally read it properly and do a review of it. Anyway, this is don't know what this is, I just bought it because the cover looked funny. I was thinking of the American meaning, but it is actually the British meaning, so this guy smokes and then goes to some sort of party. It's got Marlboro instead of Marlboro, who used to sponsor one of the F1 teams, I think it's McLaren, and will do again when things get better. And yeah, it's pencil and screen tone, and it's just this guy has an argument with his boyfriend because he smokes or something, and that's it basically. And this is a fan book of Yowamushi Pedal, whatever that is. Is it about a drummer using like the drum pedal, or is it about a cyclist? I don't know. That's one funny modern doujinshi, and here's another one. This is a High Hyaruron, or Hyaruron High. I don't know. Just looks really cute, so I bought it. But it's just Yonkoma. So okay drawn Yonkoma, and then really well drawn, really good drawn Yonkoma, and then the rest. Look at this, just blobs. So this is a Hyaru. Oh, yes, slightly better later on. So yeah, Hyaruron High got because it was cute, and I believe only about 50 yen. And Hyaruron seems to be their original setting. Maybe, it doesn't say fan book anywhere on it, so it could be an original setting made by these people of a high school, I'm going to assume, and weird things the characters do in the high school. Don't know. Anyway, let's look at some more retro doujinshi that I got in that shop in Takatsuki. So the first one is M Gate with a really nice colourful cover. Volume 1, I doubt I'll ever find Volume 2. Maybe it was never made. It's actually, can't really tell on the webcam, it's not glossy. It's kind of like sandy glossy, glittery glossy, I don't know how to describe it. I guess like light hollow foil. I don't really know how to describe it, and you can't really see it on the camera anyway. It's nice, let's say that. And pretty decent, pretty good artwork inside. Like a pretty close to pro grade for the time it was made, which I believe was 1990. And oh yeah, I forgot this one's about rugby. Right, so yeah, about rugby, which isn't a particularly famous sport in Japan, although they had the World Cup here. We'll go back to some graphic scenes. It's not porn. I did finally find some porn in that Takatsuki shop at long last. Most of the stuff he's got is kind of like normal or only titillating, not straight up porn. It turns out it's all kind of around the corner, buried. Pretty much everything in there is buried. So yeah, it looks pretty good, close to pro grade for the time. Angle it right to the camera. It's not a good page actually. Like this. See, it looks pretty good for the time. And the time was 1997. So yeah, I guess BL and Yaoi were kind of getting better artists. So it's made in the early 90s and the late 80s were the time of the infamous Yaoi hands, where the guy's hands twice as big as his head. Okay, let's not try not to waffle too much while we're going through this lot. I'll make an hour long stream again. Right, so let's skip over this one quickly. Got this one. This is Doujins, which is really well made. Looks like a professional product, but it doesn't seem to be, because there's no sort of official official publication data in the back. Like you'd get like an official copyright notice. It's just handwritten stuff in the back. There's even kind of an advert on the back, but it's kind of copying the style of professional adverts of the time. So it's made by Emi Kuri. You seem to have a load of stuff in that shop. In one of the piles was loads of Emi Kuri stuff, including loads of Doujins, which says it's a fine girls magazine. So I thought it was going to be like a magazine with articles about the latest BL doujinshi releases and stuff, and it partly is, but it's mostly just comics and stories. This is Toto as well, magazine for nice boys. I don't know if that's for Fudanchi, who are like the males who like BL, like me. So yeah, these blue pages are Toto, the magazine for fine boys. But yeah, I thought it was going to be like a magazine with articles reviewing BL and stuff, and about the doujinshi and convention reports, but it's actually just comic strips and stories, mostly, like this. Looks pretty good. Yeah, anthology style, lots of got some yellow pages with a written story in. In fact, are these yellow pages meant to be something else too? Is this another magazine within a magazine? It doesn't seem to be. I think, right, it's actually kind of like about pretty much half of the issue of those yellow pages, and it seems to be one story. It's like a book within a book. Right, and another comic after that. Looks reasonable. Blah blah blah. Skip over the graphic pages. Not too graphic, but you never know with YouTube. And yeah, this is from sometime Heisei 1992. Okay, right. By from Emi Kuri. I guess that's the circle that made it. This is. Does that mean issue 21 are restricted to people over 21 years of age, which is the drinking age in Japan? I don't know. Oh yeah, volume 21. Okay, right. So that's Doujins. Okay, now something very nice cover art. You should recognise this guy straight away, and if you don't, why are you here? This is a doujinshi of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, which is now coming out in English at long last. Actually, this is like 3 or 4 years old now. And yes, about a gigantic space empire and the brave rebels fighting against it. But it's nothing like what you think from that description. Not a laser sword in sight, but there are some swords in it actually, and cavalry actually. At least from some of the bits of the anime I've seen. The anime was kind of really famous too, and had like 300 episodes or something. But yeah, it came with a nice bit of probably extremely rare ephemera. Some little mini catalogue, presumably of the circle, which was tucked inside. Just cheaply printed. Serious Barbarian and Gag Barbarian, which you probably can't see, it's written somewhere there. So it's a catalogue of their other doujinshi. And whoever bought this convention back in the day left it inside. So probably even rarer than the book itself, which is probably extremely rare as it is. Stuff that back in there. Actually not yet, because it'll fall out well. Show off some of the artwork. I should put my camera vertical actually. In fact, I might try and do that. Can I put the camera vertical? Possibly not actually. I should prepare better and got the other table up. Right, okay. Won't try and risk it now. So this is appears to be anthology. There's some Yonkoma gags. Written story. As you can see, some really good looking comic strips. That's not a good example actually. Like this, kind of little rough around the edges, but pretty close to pro grade for the time. Could have been published in a lesser magazine, maybe wouldn't have made it into Jump. Yeah, some different text story with some decent illustrations like this. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good Legend of the Galactic Heroes doujinshi. I guess they were much more popular back in the day. Right, what else? We have another original. This is Unicorn. This even is Unicorn. Looks sideways, but it's actually just the cover sideways. Oh, that's actually the front cover. Chimera. It's like Chimera. But its name is Unicorn Volume 2, and looks okay for what it is. This kind of artwork looks okay for what it is, and it's about this guy who is a unicorn, kind of semi-fantasy, semi-modern real-world setting. And I guess, not like really modern real-world, like Demon Slayer type time, Taisho era seems to be, but with fantasy bits too, like the guy who's a unicorn, and some samurai and stuff, and geisha, I'm guessing, maybe. Is that what she's meant to be? I don't know, she's got a kimono type thing anyway. Yep, so it's a unicorn, and because it's number 2, I don't know if it's continuing on for something before. If each one was self-contained, which is probably a better choice if you're making doujinshi. Okay, coming up on 15 minutes already. I did think it'd be 10 minutes in total, never mind. Okay, we've got Sound of Music number 3. So it looks like it's single colour covering, but this Star of David has got white and the rest is yellow, so it's kind of weird. Anyway, this is kind of a fantasy story, but with a kind of Arab-esque setting. So yeah, it seems to be like a pure fantasy, but with desert setting, Arab-esque looking culture and stuff. Got a pyramids, bustling street market with people haggling and stuff like that. No magic carpets and snake charmers. This guy appears to be very good at playing some pipes, making that doody-doo type music, and getting people to dance and giving money. So yeah, made entirely in Japan with Arab-esque type desert setting, Arabian Nights type stuff. The West should do much more of that. I guess we will when things get better. Right, last one. Another one with a really nice cover is Resound. Another amateur produced BL. Quite a nice back cover to different characters. And this is number 6 in its series from 1990. Looks fairly good inside. A bit rough around the edges once again, but it's only amateur publication after all. Actually, this one, I didn't see this page before. Right, that looks really good actually. Nice anime type face structure, but nice lighting. Some more wash illustrated. What do you call it? Actually, this one's got some little mini ephemera catalogue thingy inside too, which is pretty well produced on its own. Free talk. This is like the comments from the artists and writers. They're in this little separate publication. If this is possibly like a newsletter for their circle as a whole. It's got like a Q&A session, questions and answers. I don't think you can see, it says question at the top. I guess that's the information for their circle as a whole, and then the actual book itself is reserved purely for the story or stories. The ink colour changes to some black, dark blue and light blue ink, which changes as you go through it. That's also greenish blue as well actually. All seems to be the same artist, or at least very similar styles, apart from those wash ones. Seems to be the same characters too. The style of the characters and the art's very of its time, late 80s, early 90s, because it's from 1990. Whereas it's number 6, presumably earlier volumes would have come up before. Art style changes slightly, but it seems to be the same characters each time. Maybe slightly fantasy setting too, as I can't find a good page now. Oops. I'm wasting time. Watch me flip through pages. Okay, right. On some of the pages they have like magic armour and swords, but the rest of it seems to be reasonably modern setting for its time. So yeah, that's Resound. Pretty nice covers anyway. Anyway, on to the actually interesting thing. It is this, Freaks. And you recognise this character? This is the Daikon 4 girl. So Daikon Film was well, Daikon 3 and Daikon 4 were two really short kind of anime music videos, but they actually made their own animation for it. They didn't just rip scenes from other things and put in a million cameos and every other science fiction franchise at the time. So yeah, Daikon 3 and especially Daikon 4, kind of a really famous. So here's the Daikon girl again with fairy wings, which she doesn't actually have in the animation, but you'll have to watch it yourself to see. Here is a bit of fan art of Daikon 3, where in Daikon 3 she was like a little elementary school girl, and in Daikon 4 she's grown up. And this is about amateur animation. So it's about the Daikon animations and other amateur animations that were being made at the same time. So it says Daikon Film ILM, which is presumably not the same ILM as with Lucasfilm and Grammy. So I presume they were 3 groups making amateur animations at the time, because Daikon Film is really famous today in a certain sector, mostly because they went on to become Gainax, and the others are kind of faded away. And here's like a amateur animators studio from back in the day. So we've got the I guess the artists working, putting the animation, drawing the pictures onto transparent plastic sheets, and then here there's here even There's an 8mm movie camera on a tripod looking down at a light table. So they like take each frame at a time like a camera, but onto 8mm film, and then when you play it, it looks animated. It's probably not far off how professional anime was made at the time as well, but they probably used 16 or 32mm instead. And here's the interesting part. Here's an interview by Zeneburo, which means something which I forgot. I need to search it up. Zeneburo is the katakanaization of General Products. Oh, Zenipuro. Yeah, General Products, which was the first, the second actually, dedicated science fiction shop in Osaka, and it was run by, my research notes here, Toshio Okada, who went on to work for Gainax and Daikon Film. So presumably this is an interview with Toshio Okada about Daikon Film from back in the day, Showa 59, so 1984, so not long after Daikon 4 came out. So quite the find, especially it was only about 50 yen on his Daikon 4 picture with the grown-up Daikon girl, and I think these characters show up in Daikon Film too, but I don't know if they're original ones made for it or if they're characters from some other anime that they put in it. There's some other articles about other amateur animations. Is there any more Daikon Film pictures? I think there's one more somewhere in here. Look at this. Like these days you'd think this is some guy working on his Wacom Intuos screen tablet, but this is from 1984, so it's a guy working on his transparent animation cells on a light box. Right, any more Daikon Film? Oh, it's a small comic strip too. Not about the Daikon Film girl, just about something else. Oh yes, information about doujinshi that were being released at that time. I've already checked for it on the train on the way back, and I don't have any of these ones in this article, which is about half of the magazine actually. Various doujinshi that were coming out at the time. One's related to Captain Harlock and Sorceress, whether that is. Aritoyon. They don't say which series these are based on. Presumably some are originals, some are based on other famous anime of the time. Here's a Captain Harlock one. Not very well reproduced covers either. Cost 551 yen, does it say? Okay. Digging through your wallet for the 1 yen coin. Right, okay. This is an article about shoujo manga by somebody. Right, okay, maybe there's no more Daikon Film pictures in here. Yeah, but that interview with somebody from Zenero Puro, I guess, kind of makes this a bit of a find, and maybe one day I better read it. Okay, on to something else. Oh yeah, recently, so someday, soon hopefully, I'm going to start a really big series on this channel with proper videos, not rambling streams. And if you want a hint to what the series is about, so I got this the other day. I think it's probably about time I read this, isn't it? Although I did get the wrong edition with the wrong name, and presumably the wrong English inside. It was partially translated for its US release. Anyway, that was obviously the mere pretender to this. So we've got 1857 and 1996, but it's the stuff that came bang in the middle of those two in the same genre. It's the good stuff, and that's what this new series is going to be about. So hopefully the first video of that will be ready soon-ish. What else can I waffle about? Oh yeah, new art books. So I've been working on my Viz ripoff called SCV, and decided to take a year off seriously making comics and concentrate on improving my art. You know, I remembered that SCV was meant to be the vehicle by which I'd improve my art, and I've been working on that for about 2 years. Still haven't finished issue 5 yet. I was supposed to have done 12 issues and an annual by now, but never mind. So yeah, time to work on improving the art seriously. And this book's kind of it's got a load of techniques I've never seen anywhere else. There's a bit about doing faces, planches. I think this is a French originally. Well, there's bits of it in French anyway. I've kind of lost it now. There's like a technique for drawing heads and faces that I've not seen anywhere else. Is this binding falling to pieces already? Hope not. Wasn't particularly cheap either. Oh, here we are. It's like draw the face as a plane and then the skull as a blob and then kind of join them up. And I've been trying that myself and it's kind of not entirely working, but I've only just started doing it, but it helps a lot better with positioning the ears and stuff. But I've never seen any other book say you should do it like this. They always say like draw an egg and then cut bits out. This is like draw a flat plane, or like draw a curved plane for the face and a blob for the top of the skull, and then build it up instead of starting with a blob and cutting bits out. So it's kind of interesting. And speaking of making art, so a while back I did a video about getting drawing materials from 100 yen shops, and I found a lot more since then. So this is now my main inking pen. Well, not this particular one, but these pens are my main inking pen. Got a big brush on one end, which I never use, and a nice small and quite hard brush on the other end. And these are actually 100 yen shop pens, which come from Seria, which is like the second biggest 100 yen shop chain. So yeah, that's now my main inking pen. And kind of similar are these ones. This is also a small brush, but a bit bigger and not quite as hard, but the ink's not as good either. But what's hard to find in 100 yen shops is really fine line inking pens. Until recently, when I managed to get 0.5 and what is this? 0.5, 0.3, they have 0.2 but I didn't buy any, 0.1, 0.05 and 0.03, but these didn't actually come from a 100 yen shop. Believe it or not, I've had an 80 yen shop in Shinsaibashi, which is actually where there's like Lamborghini dealerships and other posh shops, but for some reason buried underneath the pharmacy there's an 80 yen shop, and they've got a load of these. And the sizes they're available in are similar to these Copic multiliners, which you might recognise. And Copic multiliners are similar to Sakura Micron Pigma pens, which I also have some of, but these are about around 250 yen each, and these were just 80. These are by Russian, so yeah, in Soviet Russia, pen writes you. But yeah, these aren't quite as good as the Copics and the Pigmas. The ink kind of don't know how to describe it. The ink kind of goes like pencil. If you're going over pencil, the ink kind of dries out a bit and doesn't flow out as well if you go over pencils too much. But just do a few lines on a piece of clean paper and it goes back to normal. But you can't argue for the price, can you? And I was working on a comic project to do 100 pages using only stuff bought from 100 yen shops. So, right, also these ones come from the 80 yen shop too. So I was working on a comic called HPA. I said to do 100 pages using only stuff from 100 yen shops, but I kind of gave up because I couldn't get really fine liners. But now I can. So, yep, here we are. Now I can. So, I guess I'll have a go at continuing with HPA sometime soon. And also, I'll use that. It's drawn in like realistic adventure style, so I'll also use that as a means of improving figure drawing and artwork. And it will look kind of crappy, but it's going to look crappy from using crappy materials anyway, so it won't be too important. HPA is also kind of semi-autobiographical about me from when I was about 15 up to about 19, so that'll be entertainingly cringy. And when it's finished, I'll put it on Indie Planet, I guess, along with the SCVs. I've finished 4 SCVs and I'm too lazy to put them up, so one day, But anyway, that's end of the stream, I guess. Yep, just gone over half an hour. This is only supposed to be about 10 minutes. And yeah, my streams are basically just videos I can't be bothered to edit. So I guess that's it. Anything else interesting to... Yep, that's not important. Right. Yep, okay, that's the end of this stream. Bye-bye.